What's up, Alabama fans? Producer Chris here to talk about this Alabama beatdown on Chattanooga. We knew what it was coming into this game. We didn't even do a preview for this game because you don't want to overlook anybody. Nick Saban says that all the time, but we're in the media. We can do that if we want to. Chattanooga, they had some playmakers. We knew about that. And their running back actually ended up going over for 100 yards today. So good on him. Good on them for that. Alabama's really got to tighten that up going into Auburn next week and then the SEC championship after that. But I'll slow it down right here. 66-10 win over Chattanooga. It is officially Iron Bowl week. I don't even take this 24 hours to be excited about that beatdown we displayed against Chattanooga. It is officially Auburn week for me. But we will talk about the Chattanooga game right here. Deontay Lawson was out. Jalen Key was out. Nick Saban said those guys weren't able to practice all the way up to Wednesday. So we kind of expected them not to be out. Christian Story, I thought, played really well in place of Jalen Key. He had an interception, just a nice read on the quarterback there. He knew it was coming, jumped the route and picked it off. Very nice from Christian Story on that interception. So right now, guys, if you haven't already, I want you guys to subscribe right here to the Alabama Football Report. Our Michigan channel has like 29,000 subscribers. My goal one day is to catch them and surpass them. And I know that Alabama faithful can do that. So make sure you guys subscribe right here at Roll Tide TV. All right, so basically what I'm going to do for this one today, I'm going to talk about some positives and then I'm going to talk about some negatives. We'll do the positives first because we want to be positive here. Jalen Milroe looked great again. I think he started off like either 9 for 9 or 10 for 10 on the game. He ended up going 13 for 16, 197 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, a beautiful ball to Jermaine Burton to open up their first drive. I love the deep shots early. Love Tommy Reese for that. I think you got to give credit to him too in a game where you want to show some things and, open some things up ahead of, the Georgia game, the SEC championship game. Obviously, Auburn as well. They're next. But I thought just great game overall for Jalen Milroe. Alabama was 7 for 7 in the red zone today. That was great. You can't overlook that. I think the offense overall did a really, really good job. As expected, they should have. There's no reason at all this team should have shut down Alabama's offense. They're clicking on all cylinders right now, and I'm excited to see if this team goes and beats Auburn, goes and beats Georgia, if they get a chance to play in the college football playoffs, what this offense is going to look like against really, really, really good teams as well, the top teams in the country. Next positive, Caleb Downs. Punt return, first on the season, I believe, for Alabama this year. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but Kool-Aid muffed up punt. I don't necessarily think it's not going to be Kool-Aid moving forward. I know some people do think that, and that's fair. That's a fair argument. He hasn't been able to do much all year, really. Last year, we saw him really, he broke a lot and got shoestring tackled, 30 yards down the field. So I thought coming into this year, Kool-Aid was really going to break out on punt returns. Hasn't really done much. Caleb Downs gets an opportunity today, takes advantage of it. The first one was kind of sketchy. He caught it and fell. I think the second one maybe too. But then he ends up just a beautiful return on that play, busting it up the middle, doing a little spin move right as he caught the ball. Caleb Downs is an unbelievable player, an unbelievable freshman. You heard on the broadcast the Minka Fitzpatrick comps. I think that's a great comp for him, in my opinion. It's just somebody that's so mature coming in as a freshman. He's been great all year long. Christian Story, we talked about his interception. I thought he played really well today. I'm sure there's some things on film you could go back and look at that you could clean up a little bit, but I wanted to throw him some love because he's a senior, man, and he's really, we thought this year maybe he was going to come into his own a little bit, get some more playing time. Really hasn't been the case. He's still got some eligibility, so we'll see him come back most likely, I would think, next year, and most likely be a contributor on defense, but I like the fact that he got some playing time. kicking right into that, a lot of guys got some reps today. That's one of the most positive things that comes out of a game like this. I'm in favor of going to that, 12 team, especially with a 12 team playoff coming, a Power 5 schedule. I hate these FBS games. They have their own playoffs. Let them play their games. We'll play our games. I understand the payments and, these big games are what keeps those small programs, I don't know what the number is, but we've seen in the past where teams like this get like $1 million for playing Alabama. That goes a long way to their athletic program. But, it does open up the possibility for younger guys to play, and we saw a ton of younger guys play. Devontae Smith, man, he came down and just cracked some dudes when he got the opportunity. We didn't really get a chance to see much out of him, but those little flash plays that we do get to see are very, very exciting. And how about, Matt, it was something that I kind of threw around in the office to Tom every now and then. Dylan Lonergan's probably number 3 over Tyler Buckner. And guess what? He is. Dylan Lonergan coming in as the number 3 quarterback. Ty Simpson also getting, I'm not going to say really good reps. He came in the second half. The game was already out of hand. But he got a lot of reps. And running the offense is very important. You got to have reps to be able to learn. Jalen Milroe's not going to be forever. I do think he'll be the quarterback next year as well, barring something wild happening. And hopefully Ty Simpson sticks around and is one of those guys that wants to stick around and wants to progress and wants the challenge, because that's only going to make you better. I really hope he does that. I hope he sticks around and just keeps developing. We saw the legs on that, 89-yard run for him or whatever it was. That long run, he drops the ball, just a bonehead mistake. I mean, there are no words for that. You hold on to the ball until you run into the end zone. We've seen it so many times. You're going to become a meme on Twitter. Thankfully, nobody on the defense had the wherewithal to recover the ball immediately. So Alabama lucks out right there. And because of that, actually, Justice Haynes gets in and gets his first touchdown of his Alabama football career. So kudos to Justice Haynes as well. Also, only had 3 penalties on the day. That's something that we harp on all the time, is penalties. Besides the ejection from Chris Braswell, I think we also had a false start on Miles McVay. And I can't even think of the third one right now off the top of my head. So, the penalties were very minimal, and you love to see it. So right now in the comment section, guys, I want you to tell me the best thing you saw today. Was it that Caleb Downs punt return? Was it the Christian Story interception? Was it just Jalen Milroe in general? I mean, he played amazing. I mean, it's against Chattanooga, and we know that, but you'd never want to regress. You always want to keep building and keep getting better. I thought he did that today. Or Jam Miller. Jam Miller had a really, really great day. 6 carries, 77 yards, 45-yard long. He's somebody that I love that Alabama's really, really getting, touches and getting reps. We heard Nick Saban say Jace McClellan's kind of, gotten banged up throughout the years, and it's given them that opportunity to play Jam Miller more. I'm really excited to see what he can bring to the table going forward. So tell me that best thing you saw today versus Chattanooga. All right now the second thing we're going to talk about is the goofs. There were some goofs in this game. Appleberry, the running back for Chattanooga, he had over 100 yards today. And against a team like this, you don't want to be giving up 100 yards rushing to one single guy. They may have like a committee of backs that, ends up getting 100 yards in total. But one guy, 100 yards, against a team like this, you got to bring that together. Now, Deontay Lawson was out. We know that. But on the 2 drives that Chattanooga was really able to move the ball, they were moving it on the ground. And against good teams, that's not a recipe for success. So you got to clean that up. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Kool-Aid McKinstry muffed that punt. Or he didn't really muff the punt. He just fumbled it. Can't do it. You just absolutely can't do it. it gave Caleb Downs the opportunity to get in there and show what he could do, which is a little weird thinking about it too, because Isaiah Bond a couple weeks ago talked about he had been working on punt return, and you were going to see him soon. We haven't seen him yet. Caleb Downs was the guy that went in. So, he did well. I got no beefs about who went in, but it makes you think, is Caleb Downs going to be the guy going forward returning punts? Or is Kool-Aid kind of going to get that opportunity back, just because, in a lesser game like this, maybe they wanted to see what Caleb Downs could do. So that's something definitely to keep an eye on. Another goof, Ty Simpson, we talked about it. The dropped touchdown run, you just can't do it. Can't do it. You got to hand the ball to the referee. Put it in his hands. Toss it to him when you've run out the back of the end zone. Toss it to the referee. There's just no excuse for it. Great run by Ty Simpson. A lot of people saying he's not very shifty. Ty Simpson's just as shifty. Not just as shifty as Jalen Milroe, but he's dual threat, as you could ask for. So, just things you got to clean up. And those are things that, this is probably the most snaps, maybe besides that South Florida game, that Ty Simpson got in a game this year. The only way you're going to learn from mistakes is by making them. The only way you can make mistakes is by playing in games, not practice. Now, you can maybe think this was a practice game, but it's still competitive. If you lose the game, it goes on your record. So it's still competitive reps, and that's the only way you're going to progress and get better as, your career goes on. Another goof, early in the game, Chris Braswell ejected for targeting. I hate the fact that it's an ejection in college football. I wish they would get rid of that, no matter who it is, because, yes, probably was targeting. Not really going to argue it. There was some contact to the head. It was the crown. So, it is what it is. I thought the guys that, stepped in for him played well. Q Robinson. And that's just one of those things. I'm fine with a 15-yard penalty, but the ejection's a little much for me. But it's still a goof. You can't do it. Just tackle him. Just tackle him. You don't gotta smear him. So it's one of those things. It's a mental thing. You just gotta know in the moment. Okay, I just gotta tackle this guy. Wrap him up, wrap him around the hips. Don't go for the big hit. It's just one of those things you gotta learn from. And no, moving forward, you can't do it. So it is what it is. You like it, you don't like it. It doesn't really matter. That's what the rule is. They called it. So be it. The biggest goof to me was in the second quarter and early in the third quarter. The defense everything kind of slowed down in a bad way. Not in a good way, in a bad way. Where Chattanooga started moving the ball. And you're like, just watching it, you're like, dude, what is going on? Come on. Step it up. What are we doing? We got into like a flow of the game and just kind of chilled out and relaxed, and didn't see Nick Saban really blow up like we have seen in the past in those kinds of moments. But it's something that you can't do. You got to play 60 minutes no matter the team, and you just can't have those slow points throughout the game, because good teams are going to beat you if you do that. They're going to take advantage of that, and they're going to score points on things like that, especially at Georgia, and especially an Auburn team who's, I'm not going to say they're getting hot, but they are a bowl team. They've won 6 games now. They've won the last 3 in a row against pretty bad opponents. The only good opponents that they've played, they've lost to. But they did keep it close against Georgia. They did keep it close against Ole Miss. So you can't just write them off and say that's a win either, especially playing at Jordan-Hare. It's one of the craziest environments. If you've been to an Iron Bowl at Jordan-Hare, it is loud. And it doesn't matter how good or bad Auburn is. Those fans are going to come out and they're going to be loud for the Iron Bowl. So right now, guys, we just talked about the goofs. I want you to tell me in the comments section, what's the worst thing you saw against Chattanooga? We talked about what's the best thing. What's the worst thing that you saw in this game against Chattanooga? Let me know in the comments section. And the last thing I want to talk about today, we talked about him a little bit, Ty Simpson. I want to expand on that a little bit more. Ends up going 3 for 5, 4 for 6, 50 yards passing. He's a very capable backup right now for Alabama. There's no doubt about it. Can he win a big game if something happens to Jalen Milroe? I don't know about that. I'm not saying he can't, but I'm not saying he would either. So the fact that Ty Simpson got a lot of snaps in this game, I think was very, very positive. Like I said earlier, you can't learn unless you make mistakes, and you can't make mistakes without playing. So getting that playing time for him today, I thought was really, really important, not just for his progression, growing as a quarterback, as a leader, as a person, but also in that mental, okay, when am I going to play here? We don't want Ty Simpson to jump in the portal. We don't want that. He's a good backup quarterback right now. One day he can win a national championship for Alabama in the future after Jalen Milroe leaves. Or, barring something next year happening, I think he can grow over the summer and grow into somebody who can be capable. But like I said, you can't do that without the playing time. And I like the fact that Ty Simpson got a lot of playing time in this game. So last thing, guys, I want you to grade Ty Simpson in this game. A, B, C, D, or F. Me, myself, probably, they're not opening it up for him. He's not, trying to go out and win the game. He's just trying to, keep the offense rolling. I'm going to give him a B. The fumble where he just dropped it was ridiculous. That's 10 points off right there if we're grading on a paper. 10 points off on that fumble. But he made some nice throws. Not a ton of, downfield throws, but he made some nice throws in some windows and, kept the offense running. So grade him right now, A, B, C, or F. Alabama rolls through Chattanooga 66-10. An absolute beatdown. Rammer jammer on them. I don't even know what their mascot is. I have no idea what their mascot is, to be honest with you. Rammer jammer on Chattanooga. We have Auburn next week. It is officially Auburn Hate Week. So go ahead and type F Aubie in the chat right now.